Oh, what's up, Game Leapers? This is Coach Cheeks. Welcome to today's video. In today's video, we are going to be talking about the 15 most broken champions for patch 13.16 that will be hitting the Rift in the next few days. These are, of course, predictions, but guess what? We pretty much know exactly what those changes are going to be, and we can easily forecast who is going to break the game in a few days' time. So make sure, guys, you stick around for the whole video to know who these champions are going to be, and of course the reasoning as to why they're broken. We might even give some tips for each of them and some technology out there that you have to know about before just picking them. But the main technology you have to know about before picking one of these champions is actually knowing how to play them and the role you play them in. And guess what? Most people, even challengers, get coaching, right? Even challengers get advice. So what you can do before I say the first champion is click on the GameLeap.com website, link down below in the description or comment section, because we have the most insane educational and informative content on our website for you that is made by challenger players and coaches from around the world, and we have been there and done it. We have gone through the trenches just like some of you are right now, and we have got out of them, and we know exactly what it is you guys have to do because we've been there and done it ourselves. So check out those links, get signed up, and join thousands of other subscribers in frothing that exclusive content. Now let's get into the 15 most broken for 13.16, and I'm going to go in alphabetical order here. There isn't actually like a 15 to number 1, so what you guys can do is actually like even just tell me in the comment section who you think is going to be the most broken champion for next patch. So first off, let's talk about Akali, who lots of people think is going to be super broken because of the buffs that are coming into Akali for 13.16. So your Q's energy cost is going down by 20 at level 1 or rank 1 even, and at rank 5 or level 9 it will be the same. But this makes your early laning phase a heck of a lot easier because that's when you're weakest, right? Especially if we consider all the nerfs to fleet footwork, second wind got nerfed, right? All you really have is D-shield to get through the early laning phase without being poked out of it. That's really against good players, by the way. Like, you can probably pick Akali and lower elos and you won't notice too much difference here. But this just gives you more CSing and obviously more trading potential if the enemy person screws up. Then we have your damage on your Q, which is also going up the base damage by 5. The scalings are staying the same here. So more damage and less energy cost in a big way for Akali in the mid lane. Maybe we're going to see Hero Worlds, which comes out in a few patches time because of these buffs. So she's the first champion. Next up, we have Ashe. Now, why is Ashe here? Well, quite simply, she's been buffed so much in Season 13. So if we think about your W's damage getting buffed again, your passive has been buffed multiple times this season. And on top of all of this, what's the secret ingredient here? Trinity Force, that's right. And we will talk about some other Trinity Force champions in just a second. But Ashe is one of the main abusers of this. By rushing a Kraken Slayer into Trinity Force, it's one of the most oppressive setups in the game, let alone in the bot lane. There aren't many champions that counter Ashe either, so unless you're playing against the Ziggs, you're probably not caring about who you're playing against in lane. She's an unreal champion and the stats back that up. So Ashe I've got to mention here for another patch. Also staying in the bot lane, we have the next AD carry, this being Draven. Now Draven and Ashe are the only two AD carries on this countdown, guys, because so many other champions are either just as broken or going to be more broken in 13.16 because of the changes. But Draven and Ashe, Draven in particular here, right, the Trinity Force. Even if you're not going Trinity Force, you can probably go something where you have like Infinity Edge because the crit damage got buffed, right? So maybe like Essence Reaver into Infinity Edge. You deal so much damage, it's ridiculous, and you beat a lot of bot laners at the moment. Now you obviously have to be careful, maybe if something like an Ashe, maybe if something like a Ziggs, but you beat so many, and the champion, I think anyway, is innately strong, and with Trinity Force still, he's got to be here. Now next up on the countdown, we have a champion just like Akali getting buffed, this being Echo, so another AP assassin. So your Q's outgoing damage is increasing by 10 at each rank. This is kind of huge. Then we also have your Q's slow, which is increasing in a big way at early levels. So during the early laning phase, and of course if you're clearing jungle camps, this might help you in terms of kiting them and taking less damage. And then we also have your W shield, which is increasing as well in a big way. So these buffs for Echo, the main ones being to your Q's outgoing damage and your W shield, mean that his early game, trading, and also clearing jungle camps, it's going to be quicker, and I think these are just way too over the top for a champion who's doing well anyway. Even if you play Echo as a mid laner, alright, you might not be able to like one-shot the ranged minions like you could in the past, but still, he's a great counter to so many picks. If you're picking him into anything with skill shots, you have your E and you completely destroy them, so into mages, I'd highly recommend picking him, but yeah, in the jungle, just pick him anywhere, to be honest. You will 1v9 on this champion now. Now moving into the top lane here, guys, we have Jax. Do I have to explain why Jax is broken? I really hope not. But he's here, man, for another patch. There are no nerfs and no buffs to this champion in 13-16, so it's going to stay at the same OP level for 13-16. Jax with Divine Sundera, Shojin got buffed as well recently, you could always go that. Of course, there are other options where you can go like Blade the Rune King, Zonya's later if you really wanted to. Black Cleaver's good on him if there's a bunch of like HP on the enemy team. There are so many options, and because you're such a broken champion anyway, Jax is here as well. Those nerfs last patch really did a lot, eh? Now moving back down to the bot lane, I know I talked about AD carries, but this champion is not an AD carry, it is an AP carry in the bot lane. And you probably think I'm going to mention Ziggs, because I've mentioned how Ziggs does really well into Ashe and Draven, but Ziggs isn't strong enough as a champion to be in this countdown, but one champion who is as an AP carry bot is Karthus. Just like Jax, despite getting nerfed a couple of patches ago, it has meant nothing for this champion. You still deal so much damage, Lost Chapter is only 1100 gold away once you get to Liandry's and all the close range like engaging at the moment. Karthus loves it, man, so the meta is unreal, and that's why he's got to be here. Just like this next champion as well, she's got to be here, this being Kindred. Because Trinity Force, bro, is out there still, and Kindred, even though you got nerfed right as far as like your Q's damage and the cooldown going up, your actual like base stats, your HP and your armor, they got reverted, so you're still actually like maintaining a lot of power early game, and even if you've lost a little bit of damage, alright, I might slow you down a little bit, but bro, just get to Trinity Force. That's all you have to do on these champions, seriously. So Kindred's here as well, insane win rates in pretty much every single elo. This isn't exactly the same for the next champion, this being LeBlanc, because in lower elos, LeBlanc doesn't do as well as she does in higher elos. Big reason for that, people don't play LeBlanc well enough in lower elos. But when you get used to this fleet footwork, static shift setup, bro, is there a more annoying champion in the game? I'll answer it, there isn't, because if you've played against this, you're never going to log in again. So LeBlanc with static shift still is absolutely crushing it. She is still picked and banned so much in higher reloads. She's still classified as a high S+ tier champion, so she's also got to be here. You might have to be a little bit careful about blind picking her, considering how strong, like, you know, some counters are. Maybe if it's something like a Vex or maybe like a Lissandra, right? Some champions do well into her, but even with static shift, man, you're just auto-attacking as LeBlanc. So yeah, LeBlanc is also here. Now moving down to the bot lane, a support here who's getting some massive buffs in 13-16, even though he's really bad at the moment, this is Milio. So Milio's getting some huge buffs. Your Q's base damage is going down at level 1 or rank 1, but it's going up at each rank afterwards to the point where you're getting 50 more damage in your Q at rank 5. So for your base damage on your Q at rank 5 to be 320, just get me out. I don't know why they did this, but they've done it. And also the AP ratio here is going up from 90% to 120%. Now I understand you're not going full AP Milio, but even a bit of AP from Shirelia's and then Ardent Sensor, right? Bro, you will be dealing a lot of damage. I have no idea why this is coming into the game, but that's what the buffs are. But there's even more buffs because your E-base shield is also going up as far as the base value from rank 2 onwards, and it's also scaling off more AP as well. Milio is struggling because there's so much in the bot lane right now that really does well against him, and also the nerfs recently haven't helped, but these buffs just seem way too over the top, so I've decided to include him in this countdown. I'd love to know what you guys think of these buffs, and if you have opinions on the rest of the champions, please let us know down below. Next up, I don't think anyone can really disagree with this being Nidalee. Well, maybe you could. Maybe she's a little bit like LeBlanc, right? Where in lower elos, Nidalee's, well, they don't really get the most out of the champion because you have to know how to play her to get the most out of her, of course. And she is difficult. She's a high skill cap champion. But if we just look in higher elos where they know how to play her, man, she's banned an awful lot. She's an S+ tier champion. She has great win rates, great stats, and she's honestly like just uncounterable in the jungle. Maybe a champion like Rengar does well, she might want to think about banning the cat, but apart from that, man, Nidalee is insane. All of the buffs recently, whether it be to her movement speed, her armor growth, just get me out. Now, moving back into the mid lane here, probably the best all-around mid laner, this being Neeko. Because of the buffs in Season 13, I cannot not put her on this countdown, and of course because of the stats. And Neeko is a lot easier to play than Static Shiv LeBlanc, so guys, if you want an all-around mid laner, if you want to just like, you know, probably happily blind pick a champion, Neeko's great. Awesome at team fighting, good in lane as well, annoying champion to play against and difficult to play against, so think about putting her into your champion pool or just continue playing her if she's in there already. Now moving back down to the bot lane here, probably the best support, and I think this is kind of undisputed, this being Rell. There are no nerfs in 13-16, so Rell's support is going to be just as good. All the CC you have, the engage, the lockdown potential, and because of the meta at the moment, you do well into a lot of engage supports too, who can't actually deal with you. You might just have to be a little bit careful of playing into like something maybe like a Janna or a Braum or a Taric, right? But for the most part, man, Rell is such a broken champion. Pick her in any game, blind pick her, shouldn't matter, she's great. That's why she's here. Now, moving into the top lane, maybe a surprise inclusion here. This is Rumble, and I think Rumble suffers from like the same high elo, low elo disparity that maybe Nidalee and LeBlanc do, simply because he is quite difficult to pilot, especially in the top lane because it's longer and you are vulnerable to ganks. Because of the recent buffs to him, where they've, gave you damage based off of HP, they've also given you more heat to work with, so it's a bit more lenient. This is obviously great for like new Rumble players, but if you're good at Rumble, you can really abuse this as well. And by rushing a Demonic Embrace into Night Harvester, I've talked about this build in recent videos. It's super good, man. You do have to be careful about certain champions in the top lane, of course, especially ranged champions who won't get caught in your Flame Spitter damage. But apart from that, man, into pretty much every melee champion, Rumble does extremely well. Just be careful about picking him if you already have an AP mid and jungle. Now, moving back into the mid lane here, potentially a champion who can rival Nico for the best all-around mid laner and might even be better than her, this being Taliyah. The buffs from last patch, your Q's damage going up, right? Your E's damage going up. Bro, there's too much here for Taliyah to not be OP. That's why she's here. She's also going to be picked in like every single game in pro play, so watch out for her. I think she's an amazing champion to pick in the mid lane and also cuck so many champions, not just in mid lane, but across the rift as well because of your E. So Taliyah here too. Now the final champion, guys, and if you have enjoyed this video, please let us know by leaving a like down below. The final champion here that counters a lot of these mid laners, to be honest, maybe apart from LeBlanc, but would even do well into LeBlanc, this is Xerath. The recent buffs they gave to Xerath, whether it be for your passive after you kill minions or hit towers, whether it be your ultimate getting an extra charge in this, bro, it's been too good for him. Now I would highly recommend picking Xerath as a counter pick. I think blind picking him when you have to play against stuff like Akali or even LeBlanc would do well, right? Because she can gap close quickly, and if you're against like a Xin Zhao Lee Sin in the jungle as well, like you're gonna have a hard time of it. So yeah, blind picking might not be the wisest decision, but against these kind of like shorter range mages, something like a Taliyah, something like a Nico, Xerath is going to hard bully them during the laning phase. Every control mage as well, put them in this category as well. Xerath, you can hard stomp them. So I'd definitely consider, guys, putting Xerath in your champion pool. And those were the 15 most broken champions for 13-16. Any thoughts, once again, leave them in the comment section. And I'll see you on our next Season 13 upload. This has been Coach Cheeks. Peace.